Hello dear students. Yesterday we have talked about we have discussed about different type of tropisms. In that we have discussed about phototropism, we have discussed about chemotropism, we have discussed about hydrotropism. All this tropism means the direction. The direction in which plant moves, it is called as a tropism. So according to stimuli, plant tropism in response to other stimuli is known as a tropism. So we have seen root move towards water, or roots movement towards gravity is called as a geotropism. We have seen that plant shoots move towards sunlight, it is called as a phototropism. And the landing of pollen grains on the stigma, detect right type of stigma, is called as a chemotropism. So these are different types of tropism we have discussed already. Now we have to think about information of communication communicated in the body of multicellular organisms. So the movement of the sensitive plant in response to touch is very quick. The movement accordingly we have seen yesterday about growth related movement and uh, immediate movements of the plants. Even in animal bodies there are carefully controlled directions to the growth. We have seen our we have seen all our body parts are growing in particular dimensions. It never happened that only hand is growing, or it never happened that only one leg has grown more, it is showing more growth. It never happens like this, isn't it? So animal body also shows a directional growth, but in particular conditions, in particular uh, format. So here we are going to see about uh, next type, that is chemical coordination. As far as chemical coordination is concerned, it is present in both plants as well as in animals. Today we are going to see about chemical coordination in the plants. There are certain types of growth hormones or hormones, chemical substances, which are present in the plants as well as in animals, which control the movement of the body. So fast response stimuli are to be made, then information transfer must happen very quickly. So for this, medium of transmission must be able to move rapidly. So electrical impulses are the excellent mean for rapid movement of the body, but there are limitations to the use of electrical impulses. We have seen yesterday what happened. Firstly, they will reach only those cells that are connected to nervous tissues. If you want rapid movement, then it will be a movement of the plant or movement of the body, movement of the tissues where nervous tissues are connected. There it will be possible to send information. What about the tissues or the cells to whom nervous tissues are not connected? So they need to move, they need to work at that time. Secondly, chemical impulses will work. They will reach only those cells that are connected by nervous tissues, not each and every cell in the animal body. Secondly, once an electrical impulse is generated in a cell and transmitted, the cell wall takes some time to rest its mechanism before it can generate and transmit a new impulse. In other words, cells cannot continuously create and transmit electrical impulse. It is thus no wonder that most multicellular organisms use another mean of communication between cells, namely chemical communication. So we were talking about electrical impulses when they are sent, electrical impulses when they are working. At that time, these electrical impulses are created in stipulated time. They cannot be continuously created, and they will be sent to the different parts of the body. So when two parts of the body, one is sender and one is receiver. At the time one chemical impulse is created, it will rest here. Then after some time there will be a gap between the two chemical electrical impulses, and then only this information or the command can be given to the cells or to the tissues. Now question arises that suppose you wanted to play for 1 hour continuously on the ground. You are suppose playing football. So how many time chemical impulses can be sent to each part of our body? Because playing football or doing any work at a time requires whole body's coordination. For example, our breathing should be faster so that oxygen should reach to the each and every part of the body, each and every cell of the body, each and every tissue of the body. Once oxygen is received, then only breakdown of glucose will take place and energy will be released. That energy will be utilized by muscles for the movement of our body. So for fast breathing, there is a requirement of fast heartbeats, because oxygen is available in the lungs in larger amount suppose, but that oxygen should be carried to the different parts of the body. So our blood should circulate faster. So for fast circulation of our blood, our heartbeat should beat faster, our heartbeat should be more faster. So for that, our each and every part of our body, blood should circulate fast. Then all parts of the body should coordinately work. So now question arises that to how many parts of our body brain will send such type of electrical impulses, and that too not continuous, they will be with intervals. So in such situations chemical impulses are working together, and these chemical impulses stimulate cells, release the chemical components. This compound would diffuse all around the original cells. If other cell around have the mean to detect this compound using special molecule known on their surfaces, then they would be able to recognize information and even transmit it. This will be slower of course, but it can potentially reach all cells of the body, and for long time continuously they can these all tissues can work because they have received some information. Regardless of nervous connections, it will work, and it can be done steadily and persistently for longer time. It will work. These compounds or hormones used by multicellular organisms for control and coordination shows a great deal of diversity. So all these multicellular organisms have different compounds, they have different chemicals, and accordingly these different chemicals will work for different organisms. So there is a variation, there is a great deal of diversity as we would expect. Now different plant hormones help to coordinate growth, development and responses to the environment. They are synthesized at places away from where they act and simply diffuse to the area of action. As I told you, like animals, in plants also there are certain types of chemicals or certain type of chemical compounds are synthesized. They are synthesized at different parts. They are not synthesized where they actually wanted or where they required. Okay, where they require they are not synthesized there. They are synthesized at different parts, but where they are required, there they reach by the process of diffusion from one cell to another, from another to next cell, and so on. These chemical compounds will reach and they will function as a hormone. So let us take an example that we have worked earlier, that is which example we have taken. We have kept potted plant in the window, and after some time we have seen that plant branches are growing towards sunlight. So this was an example, this was an experiment, and we have given name it as a phototropism. So how it exactly works, how this plant come to know about the sunlight, it is the question. Okay, it doesn't have eyes to see the sunlight from which direction, in which direction sunlight is coming, and that plant is moving towards sunlight. So it doesn't have eyes, They doesn't have detection. So how it works? Okay, when growing plant detect light, a hormone called auxin, cytokinin, gibberellin, and abscisic acid and ethylene are the hormones, are the chemical compounds present in the plants. Auxin, cytokinin, gibberellin, abscisic acid, and ethylene. These are the chemical components which are present in the plants and they work as a hormone. So the hormone called auxin synthesized at the shoot tip, apical meristem we have seen. So at apical meristem this auxin is synthesized and help the cells to grow longer. When light is coming from one side of the plant, auxin diffuses towards the shady side of the shoot and the concentration of auxin stimulates the cell to grow longer on the side of the shoot which is away from the light. Thus, the plant appears to be bent towards light. Have you understood? For example, this is a shoot tip. This is a shoot tip. Okay, at this point, suppose this is a shoot tip, and this is from this side sunlight is coming. So at shoot tip there will be a formation, synthesis of auxins. So auxins when they are synthesized here, what will happen? They will go away from the sunlight. So sunlight is coming from this side, so this auxin will go towards this side, okay, where there will be a accumulation of auxin. At that time, what is the function of auxin? It elongates the cell. So cell elongation will take place, which causes the bending of the shoot. It will cause bending of the shoot because this side cells are elongating, they are getting longer. So because of elongation of cell, this will be a bending towards the sunlight. So this is how auxin works. Okay, so the same case happens when tendrils are getting attached around the substratum, or say where it is attached. At that time also the same thing happens. This concentration of auxin stimulates the cells to grow longer on the side of the shoot which is away from the light. Thus the plant appears to bend towards the sunlight. So here, who is responsible for bending of shoot towards sunlight? It is but obvious, it is a auxin. So to prove this, how we can prove this, that auxin is responsible for the bending of shoot towards the sunlight? Can we do one experiment? What we will do, we will take one potted plant, we will keep it in the window, okay, window in which from one direction only sunlight is coming, and then we'll wait, just wait how this plant is bending, let it bend. Then after some days we'll remove the apical meristematic part, apical meristem or shoot part, upper part, little bit part of 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter, we will remove it, and then we will wait whether the plant is moving towards sunlight or not. What will happen? Because auxin synthesis will not take place, as auxin synthesis will not take place, this plant will not bend towards the sunlight. It will not bend towards the sunlight. This is how we can prove that auxin is responsible for bending of plant towards sunlight. Directional growth, it is due to auxin. Okay, so plant doesn't have eyes or they doesn't have any other mean to communicate with the stimulus, but only the chemical substances. So here it was auxin. Another example of plant hormone are gibberellins, which like auxins help in the growth of the stem. Cytokinin promotes cell division, and it is natural then that they are present in greater concentration in areas of rapid cell division, such as the in fruits and seeds. These are examples of plant hormones that help in promoting growth. But plant also needs signals to stop growing. Abscisic acid is one example of hormone which inhibit growth. Its effect includes wilting of leaves. So see, I told you about auxin, I told you about gibberellin, I told you about cytokinin, I told you about abscisic acid. So these are the four main, and ethylene is also another hormone which is present in the plants. Now what is the function of cytokinin? Cytokinin means cyto means cell, kinin means breakdown. So from one cell there will be formation of two cells. From one cell there will be formation of two cells. 1, 2. So division of cell will take place. Obviously, for the growth purpose, there is a need of division of cells. Cell division is required. From one cell, two cells will form, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to, and so on. So, for cell division purpose, which hormone is required? Cytokinin is required. So, where it will be present? For example, sugarcane. Okay, at nodal parts. At nodal parts, this cytokinin is present, which brings elongation of the shoot. It will bring elongation of shoot. You can just take example, or question can be asked. Value based question or experiential learning based question can be asked in the examination, that one farmer is not getting, one farmer is his shoot of sugarcane are not growing well. Which plant hormone will you suggest him to apply? Which hormone will you suggest him to apply? It is but obvious, cytokinin. If he applies cytokinin, nodal parts will divide faster and elongation of shoot will take place. So you should suggest that farmer that you use cytokinin, and due to cytokinin cell division will be faster and yield of the sugarcane may increase. So gibberellin is another example. So gibberellin also helps in the like auxins uh, for winding the stem around the substratum. Okay, then next is a auxin. We have seen cytokinin, we have seen gibberellins. Gibberellic acid we call it as commonly for more leaf formation. For more leaf formation, these gibberellins are used. So gibberellins can be suggested to the farmers who are having leafy vegetables. Okay, to increase their leaves, to increase number of leaves, gibberellins can be spread. And now next one is last hormone which is shown in which is given in our textbook is abscisic acid. Sometime wilting of leaves, shading of leaves is required. Plants also require some rest. So at that time abscisic acid is spread, or abscisic acid synthesis takes place. Now what happened in the last chapter, we have seen that how excretion takes place in plants. How excretion takes place in plants. So we have seen that whatever waste material is there, that waste material is accumulated in the leaves. That waste material is accumulated in the leaves, and then leaf fall takes place. How this leaf fall might be taking place? So at the time of leaf fall, abscisic acid synthesis takes place, and this abscisic acid comes at the petiole, and after coming to the petiole, then senescence, we call it as senescence of leaves or leaf fall takes place, which eliminate the waste material from the plants. So abscisic acid is example of hormone which causes senescence or wilting of leaves. So this wilting of leaves, abscisic acid. Now question may be asked to you, or it is a general question, that suppose in your neighbor one pomegranate garden is there, and that farmer wanted to make leaf fall. Which hormone will you suggest to him for wilting of leaves or leaf fall of that garden? It is but obvious, abscisic acid. Okay, so after pruning, most of the farmers are spraying abscisic acid on pomegranate garden, let it be, or on the grapes, or whatever these fruit crops are there, they are spraying this abscisic acid on the plants, so that wilting of leaves will take place, which help farmers to get rid of from the waste material which is accumulated in the plants, because it can be harmful. The next hormone is ethylene. You might be it is not given in our book, but this ethylene is also a hormone which is having very crucial role. Ripening of fruits is due to ethylene. This ethylene was investigated. This ethylene was accidentally investigated, accidentally come to know that what happened, one scientist has taken some fruits in a room, and that fruits were not ripening, and at the same time he has kept some of the same category fruits from the same group of fruits. Some they were kept in some other room in which one fruit was ripened. So he observe that the fruits which were kept with ripened fruit, the raw fruits which were kept with ripened fruit, they started ripening faster. Then he come to know there is something in the ripened fruits which make other raw fruits ripen faster. So what exactly it is? Then he come to know that it is a ethylene gas. This is a ethylene gas. Now this ethylene gas, if it is poured in the room and some raw fruits are kept, then this ethylene gas helps for ripening of the fruits. So fruit ripening takes place with the help of gas or hormone. It is considered as a hormone with the help of ethylene. So we have seen plant growth hormones as auxin, cytokinin, ethylene, gibberellic acid and abscisic acid. So these are some in-text questions. What are plant hormones? How is the movement of leaf of sensitive plant different from the movement of shoot towards light? Then give an example of plant hormone that promote growth. How do auxin promote the growth of the tendril around the support? I told you how auxin promote the growth of tendril around the support. Wherever there is a dark area, at that dark area this auxin will accumulate, it will get gathered, and due to which elongation of cell will take place and tendril around the support will grow, they will cause growth. Design an experiment to demonstrate hydrotropism. So these are some in-text questions which you can solve and you can write in the notebook. Meanwhile, I am going to discuss all these questions once again at the end of the chapter. Till that we will see this, how many of you can find out the answers. Now hormones in animals we will see in next period, because once again the length of the video will increase and to wait to upload it, it will be very difficult. So it will take another 20 minutes or 25 minutes, so video length will be more. So I am just concluding here for today. In next video lecture we will see about animals, hormones in the animals, new topic with fresh note. Thank you very much.